Welcome to the Men's Collective podcast. In this space, we keep the conversations real, inspiring, and challenging you to become the man you are destined to be. Your family needs you to be better. Your friends need you to be better. We need you to be better. We are your hosts, the Average Joes. Gentlemen, welcome back to the Men's Collective podcast. We are the Average Joes, and we are way more than ready for some real talk with some real men and another ripper of a topic today. Wayne Taylor is my name, and as always, I've got some other legends with me on the panel. Even one random dude sitting over there on the couch, who I'm sure you'll hear from at some stage. Plus, we have an extraordinary guest who's lived through a story that'll make you think twice about how quickly life can flip. Mikey, Jamie, Miguel, lads, how are we?
Really good, thank you, gentlemen.
Hey, boys.
Yes, Mikey, you can.
Yeah, hey, Mike.
I'm here. Hey,
We
the
can't
voice
see
from
Mikey
beyond.
today. Yeah, voice from beyond. Mike is over there on our VIP couch, so we will hear from him too. But look, I do want to do a quick mention to the men out there listening and watching. If you'd like to connect with us here at Average Joes and be a part of this movement, head over to www.averagejoes.net.au to grab a shirt, grab some merch, and support what we are building here. There you can also find all our weekly meetup locations. Also, you can watch and listen to us on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Also, a big thanks to our sponsor, One Life Property, for helping us bring these conversations to life. If you're a business owner and are interested in sponsoring and being a part of this journey of bettering men, and then please reach out. We'd love to promote your business and partner with you too. Well, our topic today I've called Split Second: How Quickly Life Can Change. We've all had stories. We've all heard stories. Maybe you've even had those moments yourself where anything feels solid, stable, and then just like that, in a single heartbeat, life turns upside down. Now, there are many ways this can happen. This can happen with relationships, careers, accidents, becoming a dad, or even just winning lotto, just to name a few. But regardless, one split second can change your life. So you, our audience, what would you do if you were one of those above mentioned? What would happen to you right now, right this split second as you listen to the podcast? Now, to help us unpack this, I'd love to introduce you to a special guest on the panel, a man who you only need to Google his name and it's packed with news article after news article. He's a Sunny Coast local and a bike accident survivor who came out the other side of a near-death experience after a brutal crash that left him with a broken neck, leaving him with a spinal cord injury and paralysing him from the neck down, forcing him to a life in a wheelchair, and that was up until a miracle just last week when he took his first steps out and walked out of hospital. That man is Mr. Chris Perry. Chris, mate, thank you for being here, mate. We'd love to hear your story, and, mate, thanks for being here.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thanks for inviting me along.
It was a bit of a, we thought we wouldn't make it easy for you to get here. We'd give you a bit of a cross-country track to walk in.
through the rainforest, but, you know, nothing like battling some hard rock ground, but it's fine.
But you made it. Mate,
I made it.
Tell us your story. I mean, I've just given very, very few dot points there, but your life changed in a split second. How long ago? Just over a year ago now?
No, 4.5 months.
Oh, so it was
Wow.
I actually thought it was last June.
No, it was this June, 4.5 months ago on a family holiday, just at a local park. Ones that we like to go camping a lot. It was actually a bye weekend for our football team, so organised a couple of footy mates with got young kids, families, and just went set up camp and got to the night. Once the kids were down, got to night, and then we were just round the fire pit. I was just collecting wood from one fire pit to another because one wasn't being used. And then, took a different route just on a mountain bike I was on and hit a low-hanging chain in between two bollards and basically just turned my lights out. I was awake, but it shut my body off. Like, there was just a switch that just went, and then, it was pretty full on from there.
Wow.
So you remember hitting the chain, or did you
No.
You were told what happened?
I remember, where my bike was laying, the boys could obviously see what the situation was and what had happened. But 1 minute I was on my bike, the next minute I was lying there just thinking, what's going on?
So you came to lying there. You didn't wake up in hospital. You
No.
woke up lying there.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure even if I did get knocked out, because it happened that quickly that if I was out maybe a couple of seconds, But when the guys come over and they said, I wasn't travelling fast or anything like that. It was just taking off, rolling, and then hit the chain. And then when the boys come over, they're like, get up. And I said I couldn't get up. Try to grab my hands. Couldn't feel that, and couldn't feel me leg. They tried to grab me legs, couldn't feel me legs either. And then that was it. It was just, yeah.
Did they think you were joking to start with, or they took it serious straight away?
I am a bit of a prankster.
Not a good joke to play for.
No, it's definitely not a good joke. But no, I think they could tell by look on my face that there was something else going on.
What's the first thing that goes through your head when you're lying there and you're like, do you think, okay, I'm just numb at the moment and this will come back, or did everything go through your head?
Probably at the time, because it was about 10:30 at night. I can't really recall what was going through my head. It was just like, what's happened? Why can't I move? And then the whole process from the ambulance arriving to them putting me in the back of the ambulance and then taking me to the airport to fly me to Brisbane. And then there was no helicopter in Queensland at the time. So then they had to drive me to the PA hospital in Brisbane. All from basically that moment was all a bit of a bright light moment. I was just staring into the lights in the back of the ambulance.
In a time like that, do you try to flood your head with positive thoughts, or do you just lie there going, I don't know what's happening?
Because I don't know what's happening, I think I was just lying there, just not even thinking about. I think my mind was pretty blank until I was lying there getting prepped for surgery. That's when it kind of hit me a bit that, yeah, there's something's wrong here.
Wow, because my mind goes, you'd be thinking and worrying about it the whole time, but just to not be thinking about anything. That must have been weird,
Yeah, I think I had the advantage of it, if there is an advantage from this being at night and not during the day. After just watching a documentary last night on a young 18-year-old who did the same thing playing NFL, it was in the day. So he was, awake and stewing on it the whole time, where I think the advantage for me was it was at night.
So did the boys hear the crash? Did they come straight over, or was it?
It was about 10 metres away from the fire pit, so they just heard the bike fall on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they come over.
When you look at a situation like this, right, you think it's one thing for your life directly to change in a split second, but it's not just your life that changed. You're married with 2 kids.
Correct.
Their life changes too from this point on. What do you think it does? Or I'm sure you've probably heard it because you've probably had conversations with your wife about it and your kids about it. But what do you think it does to them now that their life's changed?
Probably from the start there wasn't much thought from my end that went into that, because Amber was so, she's the rock that's held us together the whole time, and had to travel to and from Brisbane to come see me in ICU and at the hospital. For my kids, in their mind, Dad just had a sore neck. And that was it.
How good a kid?
Hurry up, Dad, get over it.
Yeah.
The kids don't like camping. What's going on?
Yeah. So it was just, Dad had a sore neck. They would write me cards. My daughter wrote me heaps of cards saying, I wish it didn't happen to my dad. But for how bad the injury was, the kids just don't grasp it. I think 7 and 8's probably a bit too young for them to grasp what actually really happened. yeah, for my wife, she's, for how strong of a woman she is, this really cut her down a bit.
Wow.
Just the unknown, and with Amber, she likes to read into things and read books about what happened to other people, and same with her parents too as well. So I think all that extra stuff that they've been reading or watching probably didn't play a good part on your mindset either.
What was the prognosis, mate, when you went in there from the doctors? Like, what options did they give you? Did they basically say, mate, you're never going to walk again, or what was the outlook like?
They never really spoke to me at all pre-surgery. It was more that Amber got the phone call for them and saying, Chris is being rushed into emergency surgery. I think you should come and see him. This was at probably 5 a.m. in the morning, and I was still lying there on the prep, in the prep area at 7 a.m. by the time she got there. Then once I went in for surgery, then the doctors spoke to Amber and said, we've seen one person ever walk from this kind of injury.
Wow.
And that your husband will be on a breathing tube for probably the rest of his life.
So in that mindset, right? I know our topic today is on split second decisions. So my ADD and me, we're good mates, and we've got a real good tendency for just going completely off track. That's why Uncle Wayne said let's stay on topic. But on that note, mate, you put it down to your own mindset, right? Your own drive and support from your wife and your kids to say, no, mate, this bloke's not going to be on a breathing apparatus for the rest of his life or a tube. Like, fuck me, what'd you say, 4.5 months ago? And you walked in here. So what do you reckon pulled you out of it, mate? Just the lack of acceptance that you were going to be what they deemed you to be from, I suppose, historical medicine treatments that had happened to other people. What got you back to where you are?
Probably by stubbornness and determination, to be honest. I couldn't accept that. I just couldn't accept it. Couldn't accept that advice. The breathing tube I was on for 55 hours, where it's basically unheard of. The minimum amount of time is 72 hours that you need to be on that breathing tube from. But it just, in my head, I was always, that wasn't it for me. I was always going to be able to walk and play soccer with my son and throw my daughter around in the pool. And that's what I'm still working towards.
And throw a boyfriend out when she gets a bit older, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Good man.
Trackies and jumper.
The kids' biggest questions, mate, to mum would have been, I'm assuming, knowing that we've all got kids here, but is he going to be home for Christmas?
No, my daughter's biggest question was, where's Dad's body?
Wow.
Because mum would always send photos back to my daughter's iPad of just headshots.
So she thought. So she thought. How old are your kids?
Dad's head.
7 and 8.
Right. So your little one thought that was just all that was left. It was Dad's head.
Dad's head.
That's hilarious.
No way.
No wonder he can't walk,
Having a vase for Christmas.
So,
Chris, I want to go back to something that you said, sorry, when you were talking about your wife, because I know your wife. I said to you on the way in here, actually, the house that my wife and our family live in, we actually brought off your wife. So I know your wife, and she is a powerhouse. I mean, she runs a great business with her mum and she does amazing things. But it's made me realise, like, I know we talk a lot about, especially when you look at the traits of what make men masculine. You look at some of the traits on strength and leadership and courage and all these kind of things, and it's one thing for us men to look inwardly and go, come on, got to be strong, got to do all this, and we become the strength and we become that as men. But when we're put in situations, and in this case, in one split second, it seemed as if everything about you was taken away and you're now lying in a hospital bed, how strong our wives, or how much we realise our wives really are. It's like we don't give them enough credit for how strong women can actually be, because it's as if Amber had to step in and, like you were saying, like she became the strength within the family. Like she was the thing that held you guys all together. I think maybe sometimes we love as men focusing on how strong we have to be, but isn't it interesting how sometimes the situation arises where we realise we probably don't give the women in our lives as much credit as we should and how strong they really are.
Well, they don't really know their strength inside either until they're put through a situation like that too.
Yeah.
And on that, is it the fact that we don't appreciate it, or is it the fact that we don't really, and not just as men, but women as well, right? Even kids, mate. When do we actually sit down consciously as a family unit once a week or something and go, I'm grateful for X, Y, Z? It's not until something does happen where we go, far out, that's never going to happen again. Unless you're actively, consciously going to put that time into to making that time to reflect and appreciate what you have got. You don't know what it is until it's gone, right?
Correct.
Like, but I just think, you walking through that door, mate, just the ability to walk. We take it for granted, hey, because it's what your body does. It's what you've done from an 18-month-old kid. I was a bit of a late bloomer. I didn't walk till I was 10. I was a lazy bastard, but yeah, you get what I'm
You were
saying?
drunk.
Yeah.
Is that what's wrong with my milk? Dad put whiskey in
Chris,
it.
going back, mate, to obviously post surgery, you're laying there and you're now being told that the good news, you're not going to walk, you're going to have all these issues. What was going through your head then? And then at what point did you actually turn around and go, nah, forget this, I'm going to prove them all wrong?
Yeah, it was actually after the surgery that the doctor had filled Amber in, and then it was secondhand information to me that Amber had told me about it. Lying in the bed in ICU, like having to be bed bathed and everything like that, it was just the flickers I would get, like in my left hand. There were something that couldn't happen the day before, and then a couple of days later, it was me toes. Like, and I'm just thinking, yeah, this isn't the end for me. Like, I'm definitely gonna be able to get back and just keep pushing. So,
Were you second guessing those flickers? Were you like, am I imagining this, or is it?
they did say it was spasms.
Yep.
The doctors would go, oh, it's just a spasm, but obviously not. Like,
It's the power of a sponge bath, mate.
I've walked in.
I was going to say,
Imagine the spasms you could get away with. Oh, sorry.
so did
You do that all the time anyway.
Send that nurse back, something's happening.
when you're getting the sponge baths, I'm assuming most of the people giving you the sponge bath were blokes. And that's why you got the fuck up and got out of there quick, right?
Yeah. Old blokes, Lavordi.
I'll make him walk again. Send in old Bob. Here he goes.
Here comes that doctor with the waffle board again.
So you've actually made me think of something, right? When they tell you things like you're going to be on a breathing tube forever, do you think that creates a goal or a box to tick to go, right, if they're saying to me I'm going to be on a breathing tube forever, right, goal number 1, never be on a breathing tube again. Then they say you'll never walk again. Great. Next box to tick. Next goal, I'm going to walk. Do you think when we hear let's not call them impossibilities because they're not impossible, because they actually are possible. We're seeing it with you. But when we hear negative outcomes, do you think sometimes we should, or we do, but when we hear those negative projections or outcomes, this will never happen, you'll never walk, you'll do this, do you think we can take those and make them positives and go, right, I'm so glad you said that because now I can go and aim for that?
Yeah, 100%. It's just like your mother telling you to not do that, and then you just go and do it anyway. Like, you're just being told not to do it, so you just do the opposite. So, definitely, there's a good mindset to take in negative feedback. So, there's always a way.
Just goes to show that negative feedback is actually positive feedback.
Depends if you see it as a red light or a green light. Like, I don't know if you guys have read Matthew McConaughey's book, but there's so many things in there for, I suppose, or I shouldn't say a mediocrity mindset, but a mindset that hasn't been taught to look for the positives or how to turn it into a positive. Man, in that book, there was a lot of negatives. But, like, with what you've been through, mate, you know, they're telling you you're not going to do this. There'd be a lot of people out there, I dare say, that are still in the same position because they've accepted what they've been told, opposed to going, I'm pushing back 100% here and I'm walking out of here. I've got Christmas in fucking 6 months. I'm going to be that fat Santa. Like, and you've done it.
You've only got 8 weeks now, mate.
Well, I'm still the fat fucking Santa,
You're
but I'm
still
talking
big
about
fat.
him, right? Thanks. Maybe I've got to go and run my push bike into a bollard, then I've got an excuse why I'm the fat Santa.
No excuses for you.
Rocco Marciano, you familiar with him?
No.
He's a boxer from, Italian-American boxer. And him and a mate, he just won one of his first professional fights, and him and a mate were driving down the highway and they, you know, celebrating, whatever, looking at each other and had a head-on collision. So very similar circumstance to yourself, but he was head-on with the car, and he was told that he'd never walk again, never do anything again. He was really, really big against painkillers. So when he came to, he was in a hospital with a full halo on his head. And this going back in the, I don't know if it was late 80s or early 90s, but when they took the halo off his head, mate, he wouldn't even accept painkillers to get the bolts taken out of his skull, you know, like it's pretty full on. And his father couldn't work out while his old training coach and his mates were all in their basement. And then one day the old man went down there, typical Italian family, very proud, very staunch, very protective. Mate went off his nut because there's his son learning how to box again. But for the passion for the boxing, like he didn't have a wife or kids or anything like that. It was his passion to get boxing again and not accepting that he was going to be a paraplegic for the rest of his life. It got him going again. So yeah, very similar stuff to what you're saying. And it's powerful. Like it's mindset, hey. Defying the odds of medicine, like, is it a miracle? Is it... or is it just within the person that not accepting that that's who you're going to be?
It's definitely a mindset. I can see it. I've seen it over the last couple of months in rehab where someone's had a spinal cord injury but never really trained much in their life. So coming from playing football, I was training all the time. So being active and being fit was the way that helped me get through it helped me get to where I am now, where people get a spinal cord injury but have never done exercise for a while, and then being told you're not going to walk again. They've never exercised before, so they're defeated straight away. So
with that exercising, believe it or not, mate, I have done a little bit of exercising in my past, you know, like...
You walk from your car to here.
I actually got airlifted in.
I did.
I used your drone, mate. We all know, like when you're, especially when you're starting off and you're using muscles that you haven't, or muscle groups that you haven't used from when you're a freaking kid, right? That shit hurts. It hurts when you're a willing and able-bodied mind person. So I can only imagine what you went through. So I think to add to what you were saying, people that haven't been used to training and understand or experience that pain threshold, you know, the doctors and nurses will be going, mate, you shouldn't be experiencing pain. It'll hurt. This, that, blah blah blah. So they've gone the fear factor plus the actual physical pain, that's it, we're tapping out, we're not going to push through it. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't want to go through more pain
Yep.
than what they're already going through. So, but you have to.
Because one thing's guaranteed, right? Guaranteed you can sail at this for the rest of your life, or you can defy the odds.
Correct.
Choice is up to you.
That's-
Pretty powerful stuff.
That's what I was thinking, because you've come like a long way in 4 months. Like I was shocked when you said that. Do you think though, because we've spoken about your mindset, but on the way in here, you were talking about how many hours that you've actually put in that rehab. Which one do you think is more important?
Definitely mindset, because
Yep.
if you don't have the mindset, you're not going to do the rehab.
Yep.
So you can it's been my motto since day one is to be 1% better than the day before. So long as I was still meeting my goals, then I was happy. I was progressing. So if you're not progressing, then you would get down about it. Go, why am I doing this? Where you just set your goals.
Yeah.
So you can progress.
So it's a mindset of progression and just doing the best that you possibly can. You know, not everything's going to be sunshine, rainbows, and positivity and all that sort of stuff. It's just doing as much as you can.
Nothing about a spinal cord injury is sunshine and rainbows, especially medical wise. Like it's there's some tough, very very tough times.
What anything you can give listeners? I mean, obviously not in your situation, mate, but mate, just in general feedback or guidance on how you prime yourself to get ready for your day. Because I dare say, mate, over the last 4.5 months, there's been days where you've woken up and you probably haven't wanted to open your eyes, or you haven't wanted to get out of bed. Like, just not today, you know, we'll do it tomorrow. So what is it that you do? You see your mate here over in the corner, mate, and obviously you've got a good family, and like that's the support group right away, you know, immediately around you is paramount, without a doubt. But what do you do for yourself to to prime yourself to go, right, dude, we're going to get this. I know myself when it's cold and it's like, right, I've got to go for a jog tomorrow. I'm doing this on Monday, we're starting. Nah, fuck it, it's too cold. Like 3 or 4 seconds for me personally, I know if I haven't engaged and gone and actioned, mate, my reactive state of mind's got the better of me. We'll do it tomorrow. So how do you get past that point?
I hate the feeling of being weak and not being able to protect my family at this point in time.
If that's not a driver, I don't know what is.
I actually had that question down, and I thought it might have been a bit of a too hard a question to ask, but because you said that, I wouldn't mind asking that question. One of the things that we say a lot about here is that you can wrap up the build up of a man in what I believe in 3 things, and they all start with P: to protect, provide, and preside, which means to lead, right? So when you can take a man, you go, right, a family man or a man can be wrapped up into these things to be a protector, a provider, and a leader. After going through what you've gone through, it seems to possibly have stripped you away or put a roadblock or put a wall up between you being able to be a protector or a provider even. What does that do to your mindset?
Well, it just drives me more in physio to do an extra 20 reps than what I did the day before on each activity, or lift the weights a little bit heavier than the day before. So that's, it's my biggest driver is family.
Yeah.
You probably don't, and mate, I'm not saying you probably don't understand, but right now, consciously, you're probably not even aware of the legacy you're leaving for your son.
100%.
To like, this is what a real man does.
Bet.
Not go out with his mates, drink 30 cans of piss and fight at the pub or whatever, but this is what a real man does. Gets down, dirty, grinds, and is just relentless. For what your little man's seen, and your daughter for that matter too, mate, like it had to be some powerful stuff. So when he, probably not so good for your son when he says, I can't clean my room. Mate, I just broke my fucking neck and I'm walking. I'm pretty sure you can clean your room, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mate, seeing what you've gone through, I want to try and word this correctly because I know how it could be seen, but from the outside looking in, people could look at your situation and go, God, I feel sorry for Chris, poor Chris, like have that kind of attitude or that approach towards you. What does that do? Because that's like, I guess, what do they call it? Patronising, I guess, to some degree. What you've gone through is very, very valid, though, for sympathy or empathy or anything like that, where people do feel for your situation. But when people do approach you with that kind of, oh, poor Chris, I feel sorry for Chris, does that make you go, don't feel sorry for me? Like, I'm moving. Like, what does that do when that approach comes?
I kind of laugh it off a little bit in my head to the person, because I see it all the time when we go to the hospital, obviously, when Jordan pushed me in the wheelchair. Just the way that people look at you, it's with that, I feel sorry, or that poor guy there. But yeah, I don't really look into it too much.
Yeah, because men don't. I mean, look, we've said this many times on podcasts here too, but men generally don't like asking for help. The moment you ask for help, you're literally owning the fact that you can't do something by yourself. And men don't like to admit that. It's an attack on an ego. It's an attack on so many things. We're like, oh, I can do this. I can carry this, which is why so many, outside of the physical, but so many men carry so many mental and spiritual and so many weights. They carry so much on their shoulders that they don't even expose to other people, because we tell ourselves and we convince ourselves, nah, mate, should be right. I'm strong enough. I can do this. I can handle it. But in your situation, like physically, there's a lot that you can't do now. So when men don't like asking for help, you're now in a situation that requires so much. Does that play in your head at all?
It's just extra motivation, I think, to get back to at least half of where I was before the accident. I don't have any issues now asking for help, but I totally understand pre-accident I would always bust my ass to do whatever needed to be done without asking for help. I spent 5 days gurning a roof before this accident. If anything should have happened, it should have happened then.
Should have fallen off the roof, mate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Men have gone through stuff nowhere near what you've gone through. Like you've gone through something that's massive. Split second in life and spinal cord injury, told you'll never walk again. That's massive for any man to hear. Men have gone through far better days than that. A lot of men haven't experienced what you've had, right? But men have quit not experiencing what you have. Why haven't you quit?
Because of my family. My family's the biggest driver for me is my wife Amber and my kids Mila and Cruz, 7 and 8 years old. I'm thinking to myself, if I have a bit of hard time for this next year and a half, 2 years, that's nothing out of my life. So long as I can get back to half of where I was, then that's the added bonus for me.
Was there a time at all when you were hearing the news like breathing tube forever, never walk, the pressures that put on the people around you? Because we do as men, like we love our families so much and we would give up ourselves for our family. And that's the kind of build-up that we have. We'd sacrifice anything, we'd do that. But when all of a sudden you're on the opposite of that and you're receiving so much help from your family and you realise, and I don't want to use this word, so don't think that I'm saying that you are a burden, right? But when you start to think in your head, I've now increased the need for my family to do more for me and things like that. Was there ever a time in your journey of that where you've gone, it would have been easier if I hadn't have just woken up at all from this?
I'm going to say no. It's not really a thought that's gone through my head through this whole situation. My wife just let me concentrate on getting better. She took all the calls from her phone, my phone, started the Instagram page where people could follow so she didn't have to hang on to my phone and keep everyone up to date. Anything to do with insurances, work or anything like that, she just took it all on so I could strictly concentrate on getting better.
That's a power couple right there.
Yeah, 100%.
And obviously the trust and the love that you guys have got for each other, for her to handle those affairs for you too, mate. Like that's just adding to what you boys are just talking about then. Like I've been through adversities in life. I think it's just called life, right? We've all been through adversities. We've all had triumphs. But the adversities, I mean, some physical, but mainly mental stuff that I've gone through. But, mate, you've got the trifecta. You've got physical, emotional, and psychological. Look, you're smiling at me now, you weirdo. And I mean that.
You're too happy for this, mate. What's going on?
I mean that at the highest respect, dude.
Yeah.
For the people out there that go, you know, I didn't get that job and it's the end of the world type of thing. Like you've broken your neck and gone, cool. What's next? Tube's out. Let's go. Like it's empowering. It's humbling.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
seriously,
Yeah, all credit to you, mate.
100%.
You look too. It's going to sound bad, but
Can I punch him in the nose or something? Or what?
like you look too, not happy, but you look too. Okay, this is what it is. Like you look happy though. Like how the hell, mate? All credit to you, truly.
You look. To me, you look wide. Wide as in I've got a job to do, and I'm doing it. Like put a brick wall in front of me, I'll walk straight through it.
I wouldn't recommend it, but it's no. I'm happy in my progress and where I am, and you know I've pretty much from ICU. I just had a smile on my face. I didn't want to show emotion towards the kids or anything like that. That the dad has been defeated.
Yep.
Because I definitely have not been defeated.
Just a moment in time in your life, right?
That's right.
Turn the page
Couple of
and-
years.
Mate, turn the page and write the next chapter.
Couple of years. It's nothing.
Yeah, it's such a good long-term, thought process and whatnot. But that was one of the things that really struck me when you first started telling the story was like, not only does it affect you, but also how much it affected your family. And just coming back to it, I'm like going, it just goes to show, the importance of the team that you choose, the people that you put around you, your wife, your friends, that sort of stuff. Like, it's really cool to see that you had that. And you're sitting where we are today.
I'm quite lucky. I had a big community. Played a lot of football in Noosa for the Noosa Tigers. So the Tigers community, the Jets community, even teams that we played against at Caloundra and Maroochydore, even the football players from our competitors had reached out as well and said they're all barracking for me. So a massive coastal community that's got behind me. So yeah, it's more fuel for my fire to get better.
Chris,
What? Sorry.
oh, sorry, I was going to say, Chris, take us back to before the accident, like 6 months, 5 years, 10 years before, because you didn't just wake up in a hospital one day and go, I'm going to beat this. This was a mindset and a lifestyle that you'd created long before you had this accident. So what was life like 5-10 years ago before all this happened?
Pre-kid, it was awesome.
We can all relate to that one. It was
typical bloke.
We wouldn't change it, but it was good.
There was holidays, there was money, there was
There was always money in the bank.
Yeah.
But so you're obviously big in sports, and you've created a lot of regiment in your life. So you've got this ability to withstand adversity anyway. So what was that like? How did you build that?
Probably through structure, through football. To be able to get to training, you do your training 2 or 3 times a week. You do your weight training. It's just a regiment to that's probably led to this, and it's probably based down to football being active as well. Also doing a lot of surfing. So yeah, but I basically just put it down to footy because there's a big structure to play Aussie rules football. It's not something anyone can just come off the street and just do. You get injured for it. So
Wait a second, you said Aussie rules football.
Yeah, we need
no,
to
you've changed it all now.
Interview's over.
Football. You mean
I was going to throw something in there about soccer, but I thought I'll let him go.
soccer? Well, actually, where's Aussie rules fit? It's a bit below soccer, I think. Isn't it?
So what were you doing, mate, for a crust? Apart from not changing your jocks, what were you doing for a crust for employment before this all went down?
property management. Property management. Property maintenance. They wouldn't let me manage that property.
So, having the positive outlook on life that you do have, and given the unique position you're in, I'm only going to say this because I think you're the guy that I could openly say this with. You obviously understand the position you're in now and the green lights that this could uniquely present to you as a power play to completely change what you're going to do as a career base for the rest of your life, to go out and give those talks to people, to be a motivational speaker for someone that's not just read it in an academic book or regurgitating the same shit that Anthony Robbins does, but for someone that's actually lived it and not just lived it, but blew it apart, completely changed the rules from a medical professional's perspective. Well, that's, mate, I think there's so much going for you. What are you thinking on moving forward? Can I get a free ticket?
I do a bit of work already with Wishlist.
Yep.
Just at the hospital there. I think they're a great organisation and what they do, and for something that's not government funded is mind blowing. For the stuff, the equipment that they bring through that hospital just through donations is amazing. So I did let them know that I'm more than happy to help them out whenever they need. We did the case for cancer just around Lake Kawana, only on the 20th of last month now. And they ended up with 150 more participants than the year before.
because of you reaching out to the community and saying, let's get this done?
I'm not going to say it's because of me, but I would have given it a nudge.
Yeah, well,
So-
good on you, mate. And that's just you as a character, how humble you are. So whether it was all you or not, like, you know what I mean? It just speaks volumes. So did you physically walk yourself, or were you a lazy bastard in a wheelchair and getting the big fella over here to push it?
No, I was in a power chair for the first 4,920 metres, and then I walked the last 80 through the finish line.
Miguel's got an e-bike as well.
Actually, that brings up a good question, actually, and I don't know if you want to answer it because Jordan's going to hear this, yeah, but have you ever milked it at any stage where you've gone, oh, you know what, I could walk it, but no, I need the chair.
Hey, Jordan, finished.
Just
I did see Jordan walking in with a pair of tongs. And I'm like, I know what that's for. That's helping to go to the toilet. Hold the sausage.
I thought it was to pinch his ass to make him walk faster. Come on, you can do it.
They're
No,
a big
it
pair
was-
of tongs. Well done.
You must have not seen the cattle prod that Jordan put in behind the door there.
Milked it. Nah, I don't think I have.
Jordan, is the jury out of that, mate, or do you agree with
Have you
him?
ever thought, hey, you could do this? I don't know who's making me.
I've had my suspicions over the past week or so. But
He does look sus. That's why he's laughing so much. He looks happy because he knows he's just playing it. So-
Yeah.
It's probably a win-win, right? Like, your forceps made are like Popeye now, pushing a wheelchair around everywhere, so happy days.
So, Chris, what was there a point where your journey's gone from survival recovery to actually looking at the silver linings that, you know, what can I readjust in my life that I've now been given the time. You've been given time now where you can reassess everything about your life. Have you taken that opportunity, and is there a few bits that you've changed?
No, I don't think so. Not yet. It's still too early. My mindset now is for the next 5 weeks in the NIR intensive rehab. So that's my next block of where I'm at. And then for activities after that, I go to day rehab in Nambour Hospital. So probably the best answer to that question will probably be in February or March or something like that. And then I can open my mind up to a bit more activities.
Just in time for some New Year's resolutions by the sounds of that.
Yep.
Discover multi-award-winning real estate with podcast sponsor One Life Property Group, based on the Sunshine Coast, Queensland, specialising in everything from high-end duplexes to multi-residential developments, ensuring the highest quality workmanship. Visit onelifepropertygroup.com.au today to achieve excellence in your next property development.
God, the more and more you go to Nambour every day, you'll be running in no time. Running again. Oh, God, man. Let's drop him off here.
I
No,
was
I'm
going to
out.
say, mate, my wife works at Nambour Hospital. Good luck. She-
I've had a question. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, sorry. Here, like, look, we've already mentioned it. Like, you're sitting here with such character and such enthusiasm and such. You look like you don't. You look like you don't fit the script of what you've gone through, right? You're playing it so well, and you look so positive, right? And what Mikey said before, go back 5, 10 years or whatever it is, you've obviously built a pattern in your life that's made you strong enough to go, right, okay, now that this has happened to me in such a quick moment, I wasn't prepared for this, but now what do I do moving forward? Yes, you've built yourself in the past to get that strong mindset. Knowing that you're strong in the mind and knowing that you've gotten through to where you already are and you know that your goals are so far ahead of you still, do you sit there and go, God, if this was anyone else, they couldn't do it? Or do you sit there and go, anyone can get through this?
I've been told that there would be other people who wouldn't get through it. I personally haven't thought of someone who wouldn't be able to get through it, because I think if someone's been thrown into this situation, that they have the power to get through it. It all just comes down to that mindset. But to think of someone off the top of my head who couldn't do it, I couldn't.
Makes you wonder how many blokes out there go through shit in their life and use the phrase, oh, I just don't know if I can get through this. And you go, you haven't been through half the stuff a lot of men have been through and get through it. I mean, look, you've gotten through and still getting through something that's so extreme, but you're doing it and you look like you're doing it with, not going to use the word doing it with ease because I know it's been hard, but you're doing it with a smile on your face. How many men out there go through stuff and go, can't get through this, can't do it, and write themselves off when they haven't even been through, gone down the journey of half of what you've gone down with this experience? Men quit too early, eh?
Well, that's what I was going back before saying about the trifecta, mate. Like, it's not just, you're down out on a mindset because you stubbed your toe or... And I don't mean that to take the mickey out of men in general out in the, in society, but you literally have got the trifecta, like physical impairment, emotional impairment, and then psychological. And you triumphed on all three. That's why I said to you, like, now I think it's presented a unique opportunity to you to be a mentor at a high level. Like, every question we've thrown at you, mate, you've just trumped every single one of them with a very positive attitude and outlook. Like to I suppose to compliment what you were saying, mate, yeah, man, 100%. There's been some days, even within myself, you're like, I just can't do it today. Like, even as a lazy prick, it's too cold. I'm not going to the gym today. And this guy gets up and pulls a tube out of his freaking throat and keeps powering on forward. So what excuses as men do we really have, right?
I think that long-term mindset is like, do you know what I mean? I don't know whether you got that through sport where you're always working towards a grand final and you can lose games and that sort of stuff. But I think that, having that working towards something is something that's going to help. But, you've been through so many challenges, and most of the time challenges are the things that can teach you, lessons about life and anything like that. Do you have any sort of lessons that have come to you so far where you're like, wow, that has just given me a whole new perspective?
Probably just appreciating what I have and what's around me, and not being like, I couldn't be bothered to do this today, like you were just saying before. Like, get up and do it, even if it's to just walk around outside. Just get up and do it. Set yourself little goals that you can reach. Don't set the bar too high. So it's I'm on a constant drive, to be honest. And I don't know if it's not being able to drink alcohol for the last 4.5 months either.
That'll push you.
But yeah, I'm pretty clear headed and pretty focused on where I'm going.
Mm.
So that reminds me of the movie that Tom Cruise is in. What's the latest one there? Is it Top Gun? When they're about to approach the summit there and go into the half a volcano, whatever the hell it is, to drop the bomb. He says, "Don't think about it, just do it." And that's what you're saying. Like, you just know you've got to get up and go, and you just get up and go. You don't leave yourself the opportunity to have those thoughts come in to maybe potentially self-sabotage, right? You just get it done.
That's right.
There you go. I reckon I can get a partnership with you and Nike, mate.
I think the snooze button's probably the worst thing that's ever been invented.
Yeah, absolutely, right?
Yeah.
15 minutes of failure.
You can't you can't prepare for something like this, right? So I was thinking about this today because I know, Miguel, you and I have had this conversation many times before about looking at what you can control and what you can't control in any situation, right? Now, what you've gone through, Chris, you can't prepare for. And even if someone was to say, oh, okay, well, what if one day, you wake up and have an accident and you can't walk? Like, even that thought goes, one, God, I don't want to think of something like that. Then two, for it to happen, the percentage of it to happen to someone is so, it's so minute, right? So you can't really prepare for a split second situation that you've gone through. But what you can do is, I know because I had this conversation many times, Miguel, on, okay, well then what happens when these life-altering split seconds do happen? What do you do? Ones that you can't prepare for, but they've happened, what can you do? And we've said this many times before. I was looking at it today, I'm thinking, if something split second happened on the not so much on the, I'm not going to use the words positive and negative, but I'm looking, not like winning the lotto. When you win the lotto, you go, okay, well, great, like this is, money's at easy disposal. But when something happened that is life-altering, like what you've gone through, you can't prepare for it, but what you do have to do, and I've seen what you do is, okay, well, what can I do? What can't I do? What is in my control? What's not in my control? And I think of so many situations out there where I've been in where I go, and I've rung you, and you're like, okay, but what can you control in this? And I go, okay, well, I can control this and I can control that. But the moment you let go of the things you can't control is when you actually gain control by cutting out the things you can't.
I don't know about that, mate. I've tried to let go of the things that I can't control, and I thought the ADD was one of them. When I let go of that control, fucking hell, shit goes pear-shaped pretty quick. I've got to
No,
say,
but you know you can't change it.
I'm just joking, but yeah, no, totally agree, because we focus on so many variables that we've just made up in our heads, and they are just made up things in our heads, but they're nothing that we can control. We can't control the outcome. We can help with the circumstance if we're involved in that circumstance, because that's in our control, right?
Absolutely. But I think the way moving forward is because when you look at things that you can't prepare for, so then, okay, that opens up a whole new thing then. Do we need to live life looking at preparation for things? Or do we need to look at life of, okay, well, I'm not going to prepare for it, but if it does happen, I know how to move forward from it?
I think it's a very open question, because, I mean, what are you looking at that you're going to potentially be prepared for? Is it catching big fish? Is it breaking your neck?
Well,
Like, and in the moment, when we're positive and full of endorphins or whatever, and the warm, happy feeling, like, yeah, cool, man, we'll crank. I think, like, you know, today's podcast, with what you were saying, mate, you didn't even wake up once and go, I can't do this. You've just gone, righto, here's a challenge, let's make it happen. And you've openly said to us that not one day, you know, did you go through the thought process of, I can't do it. So, I don't know, Wayne, are you leaning more towards, like, how do we as men round ourselves mentally when we do wake up? We just hit the day running, and how do we prime ourselves to do that? Or is it more so when adversity comes to us, we don't look at it as, oh my God, it's the end of the world, can never recover from this?
That's how I'm looking at it.
Yep.
How many men out there are dealt with a situation that's life-changing, life-altering in such a split second, but they write themselves off straight away and go, I can't do this. And they make decisions from that. I can't stay in this marriage. I can't stay in this job. I can't keep doing this. Like, instead of going, right, although I couldn't prepare for this, what can I do moving forward? And I think it does come down to going, right, moving forward, I need to break it down into what I can control and what I can't control. But what I'm saying is that men don't do that.
What's the
Men
things
write
that you can
themselves off
control?
too
though?
quick.
It's you. That's the only thing you're in control of. Is your thought processes,
And sometimes that's a
how much
struggle.
is skill. You know what I mean? So you've got to prepare yourself to be ready for difficult situations, and you've also got to have the mindset of, well, what happens if and when it happens? I'm going to be able to handle it.
Well, that in itself is the preparation, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you know how to move forward from any situation that happens, okay, educating yourself in a way that educating yourself in a way that says, right, this, if I know how to move forward from any situation, that in itself is preparation. So therefore, you are prepared by learning what to do moving forward. It's like a circle.
Yeah. And also thinking about, like, how much you've overcome in your life previously, and you can keep pushing past that. You know what I mean? Like, that perfection doesn't exist, but that progress does. It's just, and if you keep getting better, like your shirt says, 1% better every single day. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you just keep doing that, then you're really preparing yourself for the next, or you could have the mindset of going, okay, this is shit right now, but what can I learn from this, and how much better or how much stronger or how much of a difference can I make after I get on the other side of this?
That's exactly right.
I suppose
That's really good, mate.
And getting to that point where you're going, this is really shit now, you know exactly what's happened to get you to that point of being really shit. So you can go, oh, yep, cool, it's coming up Friday night, going to get on the piss with the boys. Yeah, fuck that. I'm out, because this happened last Friday, and that's why I'm in the predicament I'm in this, you know, up until now. So there are things there that we can definitely manoeuvre around or not accept. You know, it's even like the big saying of, show me your friends and I'll show you where you're going to be. It's so true, right? Who you surround yourself with in that. I think a really big part of it too, mate, is coming back down to consciously allowing ourselves to look at what we have achieved. Like you touched base on it a bit before. And then you big time, mate, going, what you're appreciative for and what humbles you, your wife, your kids, your sports, I suppose your sports family too, right? All the extended families, even the opposition guys that you played against, like they were all leaning into you. So to be able to sit back and appreciate that, and you got Jordan, like all these. Like ultimately, it's in you. If you don't want to get up, no one's going to make you get up, right? If you don't want to go to the gym, you ain't going to go to the gym. Pretty simple. But if you combat your positive mindset and your lack of wanting to lay down and die, you couple that with this awesome group of people you've got around you, mate, that's a pretty good recipe for success, isn't it?
100%.
Do you find, because you mentioned like the kids and the family, do you find as a man sometimes it's easier for you to do more for other people than sort of thinking about yourself and what you're going to get out of it, sort of thing?
I've always been the one to help others, and if anyone needed a hand, like the neighbours or anything like that, I've always would drop what I was doing and go and help someone else. I think that's what Amber loved about me, to be honest. I'd always just didn't matter where I was or if there was a way for me to go and help someone who needed a hand, then I'd go and do it.
Unfortunate on the circumstances as to what's happened here, but now the community's given back, mate, to what you've given out.
Yep.
So it's coming full circle, right?
And they're just giving back, like in their words, and sending me messages, which is perfect because it's just fuel for me to keep going. Like, never really wanted anything in return. I never thought I'd ever be in this situation where, hey, listen, like, where's everyone for me? Like, I never thought like that.
Yep.
But it just happened.
Is that part of it though? Hey, like you've spent years helping others, and now you're in a situation where you need help. If you hadn't been that guy that was so willing to help and so community minded, would you have so many people behind you? Is that not unknowingly part of the preparation?
Yes, that's a good thought.
Probably not. I don't think there would be. If someone keeps to themselves and have been in a bad accident, then no one really knows about them, do they?
That's a fair point.
Yeah, so is that in some way some kind of an insurance policy to be that guy that's out there wanting to help and getting involved and doing stuff just at the drop of a hat?
You're saying it
we
through...
do it because we enjoy it.
Yep.
We thrive on it. But how much does that play towards the insurance when your chips are down and all of a sudden here it comes, the wave of support?
So you're doing it through selflessness, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But even at that point, after all the people you have helped, who here in this room finds it hard to ask for help?
Well,
I know I do.
Yeah, if
There's been instances recently where you've offered to help and I haven't accepted it, right? Like, no, it's not your issue, it's not your problem, blah, blah, blah.
Mate, 2 weeks ago, Jamie offered me help to move furniture and I needed it. And I said no. And he's like, yeah, come on, bro. That's what we're here for. Like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And
Yeah, I think I actually said to you, I was like, I want to help you. I would enjoy having the ability to actually give back and help you.
yeah, so I let him buy me lunch as well.
But that's the point where you're taking the piss, mate, and you're crossing the line.
Yeah.
You know what, though? It's made me think because you're saying that you were the guy that used to help people, right? And it's because I'm the same, and I know these guys are the same too. Like you become the guy that's known for you're always there to help, and you're the helper. So when all of a sudden you're the guy needing help, it's actually very hard to receive it because you've programmed yourself. I should say you've programmed yourself that no, I can't receive help because I am the helper. So when help now is needed, it must be a challenging thing to go, I actually need to receive help here. I wonder if that in itself is the indicator. People that are often providing or offering so much help, I wonder if that's an indicator of men that actually need help or struggle to receive help. are the ones that are always offering help.
Are you saying
Was
we
that
need
a
help?
cry for help?
I'm looking at you guys going, these guys need help.
Quick, someone hug Wayne.
I'm actually revealing how much help I need, guys. Can we just do a group hug? Thanks. When this happened to you, Chris, right off the bat, I'm sure you would have had influxes from people, friends and family, saying to you, mate, please, if you need anything, please let me know. Like, we're here if you need anything. Was there a time where you've gone, I actually do need something, and someone's come through with it?
I had a couple of good mates come around and mow the lawns, do lawns, put all the mulch in the garden, because we were only a week off putting our house to the market. So we were about to sell. I was supposed to be right now heading to Lennox Heads for a week on a year holiday around Australia.
Really? Wow.
So, yeah, the house was pretty tidy. So obviously I was fixing it up before sale. So, but yeah, definitely had a few boys reach out to do some housework. Even for them to come from Noosa, most of my mates are in Noosa, to come from Noosa to the hospital and come watch the Brisbane Lions play a footy game with me for a couple of hours on a Saturday, because there was no physio or occupation therapy on a Saturday or Sunday.
God, if I had to watch an AFL game, I'd need help too. I reckon.
Yeah, that'd get me walking too.
I was going to say, the only reason they rocked up was they actually felt sorry for you, mate, because you're barracked for the Brisbane Lions. But
And I made them wear a jersey too.
You know what though? Actually, when you're saying about guys coming around and mowing the lawns and remulching, see, that's where I would milk it. Pull yourself a drink and go, I really need that bathroom renovated too. I'll just sit here.
A bit faster with the fan, Jamie.
That's where I'd milk the help. Yeah, I really need help here.
so there you go, boys. Take that as a note to self. Wayne has an accident and he needs help, like no one rock up.
Don't pick the fan up.
He's
Yeah.
going to have a 3-story building by the time we leave.
This might be a hard question for you to answer, Chris. In that situation when it happened and you found yourself, wow, like I actually do need help, was there someone that didn't come to the party where you thought they would have? Like, oh, you know what, I actually thought so-and-so, actually probably, it's a bad question to ask because you have to name them, but was there someone that you thought, I actually thought they would have helped more or been involved more?
Can I add to that quickly before you answer it? Like, were there underperformers and overperformers?
Names and addresses.
Yeah. We'll get them sorted this afternoon.
Or no performance.
Were there people that you thought would hook in and help that didn't? And then were you people that you thought would least want to help and that went above and beyond?
No, I think everyone played their role that they had to play. Considering I couldn't use my hands for the first 2 months, so any interaction that any mates needed to come and see me or help out around the house, it had to go through Amber. So there's no doubt there's a lot of messages there still that I haven't seen, because she kind of clocked off a bit as well.
Wow.
So you got some mates there. I don't know if this is. I know you don't want to keep etiquette above board, mate. I'm doing my best here, but I think we've broken the ice a bit, and you're a bit of a joker and don't mind a laugh. So, is Jordan one of those guys that's a bit more of a friend? Because the first 8 weeks where he couldn't use your hands, did Jordan have to use his hands
I was waiting for it.
for any specific applications?
Jordan looks really embarrassed right now because you can't see him on camera.
I've known Jordan for about 3 weeks, I think.
Oh wow! Okay.
So no, Jordan was not there using his
Okay,
hands.
so maybe
So he's only now learning that 8 weeks ago, it only took 8 weeks for you to be able to use your hands. And he's like, why am I still?
Yeah.
I think he was.
So what you don't know is, Jordan, you're actually replacing old mate that's been with him for the first 8 weeks.
Fresh set of hands.
The guy who's done all the heavy lifting.
So that's good, mate. Like, no, not that part there's not good, but getting back to what Wayne was saying, everyone hooked in, and it was a massive help. And there's a lot of stuff there that you're still not aware of what your wife handled and your mates handled around you. Getting back on track just for the first 8 weeks. before you could even use your limbs and that properly, or even remotely think about using them properly?
I was lying in the orthopedic section there. It's a bay of like 4 beds. Just lying there, just watching bed 1 use his phone, bed 2 use his phone, bed 3 use his phone. And that was kind of a motivation for me to just lie in bed and try and get my hand activated just so I could talk to people as well instead of watching daytime TV.
Oh, boring.
And
Not
being able to change the channel either.
Did they have Days of Our Lives on for you?
I think that is still running.
That was probably what got you running, mate. Like, I probably would have chucked myself out the window.
Tell you what a good excuse I don't have to answer all the phone calls that come through. Sorry, mate, I can't use my hands.
Yeah.
I tried ringing.
And living in Budrum too. I never answer my phone. It just cuts out. You get every second word.
Along that, is it King Street? Is that main street that goes through Budrum?
Up the top.
Right near that service station, I always warn people, mate, I'm going to lose you here.
This episode brought to you by Telstra.
Brought to you, that road actually is brought to you by everybody. Doesn't matter who you're with, that road is, you lose it.
Yeah.
The situation that you've gone through, Chris, you were put in a situation where it was like, I have no choice. I have to live a certain way now, or I have to do this because a lot of choices were taken away from you and what happened, right? So you're put in a situation where you're kind of saying, well, I've got no choice now but to do this. Do you think sometimes as men we wait too long to be in that kind of situation when we go, oh, well, I've got no choice, so now I have to do this? Do you think sometimes as men we leave things like that for too long until we are in a situation when we have no choice?
I think there's a lot of men out there who do that exact situation, knowing that they could change something to maybe save their relationship, for instance, and then the wife leaves, and then it's too late. Then you start working on yourself.
Yeah.
When you could have worked on yourself beforehand to save it.
So I wonder what, how do we get to that point? Because I hear this stuff with men, especially with things like fitness and stuff. Oh, wow, mate, you've lost a stack of weight. Oh, yeah, well, I had a health scare. Okay, so it took a health scare to kick you into gear, did it? What you've said about relationships too, oh no, she up and left me, and so now you've gotten your life back on track. Okay, so it took that to do it. So I wonder what we can do as men to step back 2 or 3 steps and go, right, before my life gets to a situation where it's, well, I've got no choice now. What are the indicators, or what are the things we can look at back here to go, right, before I get to that one, I've got no choice, and right now I do have choice. What do you think the most important things we need to get in line now? Fitness, obviously, health.
Strategy. We've got to put a strategy in place, and then we've got a...
Yeah, but for what things, though? Like what I'm saying.
Well, so I've just written down, and we've spoken about this. I call it before the curve, right? Everyone speaks about I should do it before the curve, because once the curve's hit and it's peaked, it's just all over. Like, mate, I used to be a smoker, and, smoke 2-pack. Not so much smoke during the day, but especially when you're having a beer or something, you just start smoking more and more. And on a Sunday session, on a Saturday, and you're on the beers with the boys or whatever, and out partying, having a fat time, it'd be 2 packets of when he blew, no dramas. But I remember quitting a few times, quite a few times, and also asthmatic. The amount of mucus that would come up off my lungs when I was quitting, and the headaches I'd have, it was just easier for me to start smoking again because everything would subside. The headaches would go away. The phlegm, funnily enough, would settle on my lungs again. So I'm like, oh, bugger it. And then just one day, made an agreement with my son. He said to me, I don't want you dying of cancer, Dad. And I said, I don't want you getting in trouble at school anymore. So I quit smoking there and then on the day. He still gets in trouble at school every fucking week. But anyway, trying to lead by example. So
you blame him.
So before the curve, like I think, like you're saying, mate, I've had a health scare or something like that. I don't feel sorry for people that die of cancer that have been smoking. They call me heartless, but I'm like, you fucking done it to yourself, mate. There's that much out there now that can prepare you and educate you on what not to do. Like, alcohol is one of the biggest killers in the world. Domestic violence, mental illness, the whole lot. But because, and I love a drink. Like, I love a whiskey, whatever. I love a cold beer with mates. But, so what does it mean to me before the curve? Well, as you get older, it hurts more for full body movement, mate. You're experiencing it at a whole different level. So yeah, putting a strategy in place to see where you want to go to, whether it's quitting drinking or quitting smoking or cutting your drinking back or eating healthier or exercising, getting full body movement. Before the curve comes and you can't do it because your joints are buggered or you've got emphysema or you've got some form of renal failure, whatever it may be, I think it's imperative.
So in a health way, that's one thing. But what do you think we do in other areas, relationship-wise?
I think the things that are going to make you change is either you understanding that you only got limited time or that the pain is so great that it's going to make you change. Like there's got to be a threshold where you go, that is it. So, if your time's taken away or if it just hurts that much, they're the things that are going to change. Like I used to do an exercise with people where you go, cool, all right, so let's fold the paper into 8 equal squares. This is how long you've got in your life, maybe live to work. What year do you want to retire? And most people want to retire, say 60. Maybe ambitious people say 40. Really ambitious 50. Really ambitious people say 40. And you go, cool, cross those out. How many years are you now? Cool, so that's your first 10, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Okay, so you've got 20 years now or 10 years now to achieve everything that you want in your life. Are you going to be able to do that? So are you going to drop who you want to be and the standards or what life you want because you don't have time? Or are you going to lift your standards and actually make it happen or work longer? Because if you know how much time you have, or if you estimate how much time you have and you actually fear lost yourself and go, I don't have that much time left. You know what I mean? Or where I'm at right now hurts so much that I need to change that. I think they're two of the biggest factors that will make that happen.
I think all humans, to some degree, we have it in. It's like, okay, how many times are all of us guys sitting in a room here have we've been having beers with certain people, and you may not want to hang around those certain people on a Friday night or Saturday night, especially an apprentice or whatever, right? But they're part of your group, so you go and spend time and chill out with them anyway. You're only on $180 a week. I know I was back in the days an apprentice on wages. You don't want to go and spend that money because you want to have it for the next week, but you still want to fit in, so you do it anyway. So like, even the slightest things, we know within ourselves, we don't want to be there. We don't want to do it, but we still do it to fit in. So there are checkmates, I believe, that we can see, and we know that we should be making that change. What do you guys think?
100%. I think we need to make the change. I think one of the things that you said, Jamie, I think is imperative, is that it's like we need to bring the threshold back. Because it's like we've created a threshold of, like, let's just look at our health for a minute. I'll make a change when I get diagnosed with something, and then you see dramatic change. But if you bring that threshold back and go, okay, well, don't wait for, dire warnings from a doctor. Bring it back to, I don't want to reach 110 kilos, but once I do reach that, so I think that's just in health. So you look at relationships. I wonder if you brought the threshold back within a relationship and said, instead of, I can't live with her anymore, I'm leaving. Okay, if you brought that back a bit, instead of it being, we argue too much, so I'm out, bring it back to a bit and go, well, instead of it just being about what we argue about, there's so many things that make up a relationship. There's intimacy, there's connection, there's so many parts. And maybe if we brought that back and said, okay, I'm going to give my relationship major attention back here now instead of waiting for it to get there. I wonder how many relationships would get saved if that threshold was moved.
So are we just too comfortable?
100% we are.
Everything. Like if it's easy or it's comfortable or it feels good,
we leave it.
Then it's probably not going to make your life better.
If it's not
beyond that moment.
If it's not broken, don't fix it.
One famous quote by Les Brown is, do what is easy and life will become hard. Do what is hard and life will become easy. And what he means by that is just coast through life.
That's what I say to my wife.
It's easy. Honey, it's easy.
What he's getting at
Do what is hard and life will become easy, love. We can edit.
Sambo, edit, cut.
That's great.
So what he's saying is if you just cruise through life and don't do the extra 20 reps, don't do the extra 10 hours a week to better yourself, don't do the extra 10 hours a week to get your income, don't spend that quality time with your wife and your kids, and just easy, like just Netflix it up, do a 38-hour week. That's pretty easy, right? But when you get to the age of 55, 60 or whatever, and your kids are growing up and there's nothing really to look out for, if you haven't got that bond and that connection with your wife, what are you going to do when the kids leave home? What are you going to do for funds in retirement? Now life's going to start becoming hard. Whereas if you're disciplined and structured younger, life will become easy when you get older and you get to enjoy the exploits of everything you've worked your ass off for.
It actually sounds like it's taking a risk being too comfortable.
Absolutely, 100%, mate.
Yep.
Well said. Can I ask you this? With prior to your accident, like you seem like an all-round genuine guy anyway. But I know I'm very guilty of my kids coming to me and saying, "Dad, can you look at this?" Or "Dad, can we shoot some hoops?" "Dad, can you jump on the trampoline?" "Dad, can we go for a motorbike ride?" Whatever. I'll be there in a minute. Just let me do this one last email. Just let me take one more phone call. And I guarantee you, man, like up until probably 5 years ago, those minutes never came from my kids. It was bedtime and I'm still punching away on the computer or still taking phone calls, still trying to do what I thought was the right thing and make $1, right? Have you become more aware now of when your kids have said those things, or are you just an all-round fucking Anzac Aussie? Because I can't seem to find anything on you bastard. But like, do you get my? Are there points down your life, mate, where your wife or your kids go, "Hey, how about this?" and you just stop, smell the roses, go, "You know what? Actually, yeah, chill." You're just going to say you're awesome, aren't you?
No, it's actually the moments I probably can't wait to get back to. But yeah, definitely been guilty of just letting the kids have an extra like half an hour or something on their iPad where I can just maybe sit there and scroll, to be honest.
Yep.
Like it's just dead time where now it's like there's no, I'm not going to have no more dead time. That's the stuff that I probably took for granted, and then now I want to get this. I want to get back to it so badly.
So that's your checkmate, right? That's mate. I think that's a great. I was going to say aneurysm. Then, my God, what's the word for it?
Analogy.
Thank you. Aneurysm.
You just had
allergy.
an
That's a
aneurysm,
better
that's
one.
what it is.
Yeah.
You just had one.
Yeah, like dead time, no dead time. So there you go. And that could be a combination of, like, it's kind of funny. I like Gary Vee, mate. Like some people think he's pretty brutal, but he's pulled me out of some dark places, and I had the privilege of meeting him in Brisbane this year and speaking to him about some stuff. And, you know, when people say, "I don't have time through a week because I work a 38-hour week," and then you have a look at their phone, you're smiling already. So you get where I'm going with it, mate. Like they've got 38 hours, and let's say it's a young couple, so boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, or young married couple, early 20s, go out on a Friday night and party. So they're on the couch all day Saturday, recuperating with Netflix, go out again Saturday night, end of the Sunday sesh. Let's just say they binged Saturday and Sunday, there's 20 hours, right? And then through the work week, probably wake up at 5, 6 a.m, chilling in bed till 7, flicking through, scrolling. Lunchtime doing the same thing, doing the same stuff through working hours when they're supposed to be working. And then the same thing after hours. There's probably another 60 hours a week there that they're not even aware of, which is dead time, where they could be fighting the curve and getting in front of these things that you're talking about, Wayne, as far as, you know, health, relationships. And when I say health, physical, spiritual, sexual, mental, all of it, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Chris, I've got a question for you, mate. You were speaking before, when this happened, you're a week off putting your house on the market.
Yep.
You had a year planned on the road. You had plans. Everything completely went upside down. And now your goal's just recovering. What have you actually had a chance to look forward and revisit those goals, see how they're going to sit, or are you purely focused on back to normal for now?
Maybe in maybe in a year's time, we could revisit heading around Australia. It just depends on how I progress as well, and if I get back to driving, because we bought a brand new patrol brand new caravan. We had it since November last year, so to prime ourselves for this trip. I'd actually booked everything up until getting off the Tasmanian barge boat thing, whatever it's called.
Yep.
And because we had to book so far ahead in advance because of Christmas time and that, and people like to rebook the spots, and we were taking our dog with us as well. But yeah, definitely next year we could revisit and see where we're at. But yeah, that's probably a future, definitely a future goal.
You're not letting yourself dream it quite yet. You're focused on the goal.
Nah,
yeah, okay.
If it was up to Amber, she would have sold the caravan 2 months ago, which I was like, come on, just hold up. Let's see where I'm at.
Yeah.
When you get to WA, mate, you can do a skit with Ned Brockman.
Yeah.
You never know. There could be something good there that come out of that.
Is he the guy that walked somewhere? Walked a
Well, you need
blonde mullet?
You need slapping, mate.
Yeah, big blonde mullet. I know the guy. No, but he walked somewhere, didn't he? What's his...
He ran from WA. Oh, now you're going to make me look like a dickhead.
There you go. So,
He ran from somewhere to somewhere. That's some
Somewhere
pretty
to
cool
somewhere.
shit.
Yeah, what was funny is we all actually went to an event where he spoke,
and none of us...
and now no one knows who he is.
But he does good things for the community. That's all I'm getting at.
He just did something like 11,000 laps of a track and field. It was in Sydney.
He's like the
He
Aussie
raised-
Goggins, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he did. He just come off it. He raised, was it $2.2 million or something?
Yeah.
For children. It was a fundraiser that he done off his own back. And that, by all accounts, was the most painful and treacherous thing he's ever endured.
Yeah. Blisters on blisters.
Like, insane.
Wow.
Well, he averaged...
It was a marathon a day.
Yeah, it was. It was like 183 Ks a day or something. It was ridiculous.
That is insane.
Around a 400-metre track.
Chris, if I went back 6 months ago, this is just prior to your accident, what was your definition of success then compared to what your definition of success is now?
It's probably the same.
So nothing's changed in what you...
No,
That's good.
it's just happy wife, happy life.
That greasy pole, eh?
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, lads, I think we wrap it up there. That was... Chris, honestly, mate, we really appreciate you joining us. That was epic. I think that was really, really good. Lads, you want to close with anything you want to add?
Mate,
No.
thanks for coming,
Yeah,
Chris.
we
mate.
really
It's,
appreciate the effort you made, truly.
But
I think there's a couple of man crushes in this room now.
Oh, 100%.
That's why I can't
That'll
stand
speed you up.
Miguel, keep your hands to yourself.
Well, ask him if I've got calluses or not. He'll soon tell you.
I can't feel
Calluses on calluses.
it. I can't feel it.
Mate, if anything I could add to it, it's just it's so liberating and I'm very appreciative to have the time with you. Like, still some of the things that I'm going through in my own personal life and business life, mate, harden the fuck up and just get it done. Like when I look at you, like there's no comparison. Seriously, man, it's a credit to you.
So now every day when you ring me to whinge, I'm just going to say...
As we were saying,
Yeah, ring Chris. Yeah.
tell your stories, do
I'm not going to answer anyway.
Hey, isn't that a business going forwards, for Chris? Just to, if you're feeling a bit sooky, give me a call.
Yeah.
$2 a minute. I'll tell you to toughen up a
It's
little
like
bit.
with a call, was it Better Call Saul? Just call Chris. Oh, mate, just call Chris. Honestly.
Numbers on the screen.
1-800 harden up.
Well, let's close it there. So, fellas, thanks for joining us here at the Men's Collective Podcast. We are the Average Joes. Like I said, jump online, www.averagejoes.net.au. Find out where all the meetups are. Get along. Get some merch. Fellas, once again, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your week. Jordan, nice to meet you. Chris, once again, really good. All right, lads.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Yeah,
boys.
boys.
Have a good weekend.
Catch us.